While developed countries claim to recycle, much of that plastic ends up in developing nations where it's piling up, polluting rivers, and harming communities. In this video, we expose how global plastic waste is drowning the world's poorest countries. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more eye-opening content that reveals what's really happening behind the scenes. 1. Imported waste overload. Many developed nations ship plastic waste to developing countries under recycling agreements. But much of this waste is contaminated, mixed, or impossible to recycle under local conditions. As a result, it piles up in open landfills, roadsides, rivers, or gets burned in open-air fires. This exposes nearby communities to toxins while adding to plastic and carbon pollution. Nations like the Philippines, Indonesia, and Kenya have received thousands of tons of waste. Some shipments are mislabeled or smuggled in under false claims of reuse or recyclability. 2. No infrastructure for waste. Many developing nations do not have adequate waste collection, sorting, or landfill systems. Plastic waste ends up in rivers, oceans, and open fields due to weak or absent trash networks. Even in large cities, millions rely on informal collectors who cannot manage massive volumes. Plastic does not break down, so it quickly overwhelms unregulated dump sites and waterways. Rainfall carries plastic bags, wrappers, and bottles into drainage systems and coastal zones. Blocked drains cause flooding, sewage overflows, and waterborne diseases in poor areas. 3. Health crisis from burning plastic. With limited waste solutions, many communities burn plastic to reduce its overwhelming volume. Burning plastic releases dioxins, furans, and heavy metals that poison air and human lungs. Open burning is often done near homes, markets, and schools without protective equipment. Children and the elderly inhale these toxins daily, increasing asthma, cancer, and birth defects. Even plastic that appears clean releases toxic smoke when burned in uncontrolled settings. Healthcare systems in developing countries are rarely prepared to handle toxic exposure. 4. Coastal nations hit hardest. Developing nations with long coastlines suffer disproportionately from plastic in the oceans. Plastic dumped inland is swept into rivers that flow directly into the sea during monsoons. Tons of trash wash up on beaches, harming tourism, fishing, and local marine biodiversity. Countries like Bangladesh, Ghana, and Vietnam struggle to clean coasts after every storm. Plastic nets trap fish and turtles, while microplastics accumulate in edible marine species. Fishermen report smaller catches, polluted harbors, and entangled gear from drifting waste. 5. Plastic replaces traditional packaging. In many developing countries, traditional materials like banana leaves or woven baskets are fading. Single-use plastic has flooded markets with cheap, disposable alternatives that spread fast. Vendors wrap food in cling film, drinks in plastic bags, and snacks in multi-layer wrappers. These materials are nearly impossible to recycle and are thrown away after a single use. Rural areas now produce more non-biodegradable waste than ever before in history. Local customs are abandoned in favor of convenience and cheap global plastic imports. Once plastic habits spread, reversing them becomes harder due to accessibility and marketing. 6. Flooding made worse by plastic. Plastic clogs drains, canals, and sewers, turning heavy rains into urban and rural flooding events. Cities like Jakarta, Lagos, and Dhaka now face yearly floods worsened by unmanaged plastic waste. Plastic bags, wrappers, and bottles prevent water from flowing, causing streets to fill rapidly. These floods destroy homes, displace families, and spread sewage and diseases across poor areas. The cost of rebuilding after plastic-fueled flooding is massive for both governments and citizens. Flooded schools, shops, and roads paralyze daily life and reduce long-term development chances. Some cities spend millions clearing drains every season, but the plastic keeps returning. 7. Informal waste workers at risk. Millions of people in developing nations depend on waste picking to earn their daily survival income. These informal workers sort plastic without gloves, masks, or protective gear from toxic exposure. They face cuts from sharp plastics, burns from chemical waste, and illness from open dumps. Children are often involved in scavenging, which exposes them to hazardous work at a young age. Women carry heavy sacks of plastic through toxic piles, often without access to clean water. They earn only pennies per kilogram, while large companies profit from recycled materials. These workers play a vital role in cleaning plastic but receive no healthcare or legal protection. 8. No local recycling markets. In many regions, plastic recycling is impossible due to lack of markets for reused plastic products. Even if plastic is collected and sorted, there is often no buyer or manufacturer to process it. Transporting plastic waste to recycling hubs is too expensive for remote or rural communities. Low-grade plastic used in snacks, sachets, or bags has no resale value and is always discarded. Factories that do recycle prefer clean, single-type plastics, not the mixed types found in waste. Without economic incentive, plastic sits in dumps or burns rather than entering reuse cycles. Many countries export their best recyclables and keep the toxic leftovers in local landfills. 9. Corporate influence and plastic lobbying. Multinational corporations sell billions of single-use plastic products to poor countries each year. These corporations often resist regulations, claiming responsibility lies with individual consumers. They fund lobbying groups to fight plastic bans and promote waste management over production cuts. Plastic sachets for shampoo, detergent, and snacks are impossible to recycle but flood global markets. They profit while communities pay the environmental and health price for cleaning up plastic waste. Voluntary pledges from companies rarely lead to real reductions in plastic production. Most advertising shifts blame to poor disposal rather than over-packaging and design choices. 10. Need for global plastic justice. Plastic pollution is not just a local issue, it is a global crisis shaped by inequality and injustice. Developing countries are least responsible for plastic production but suffer the worst consequences. High-income nations consume more plastic per person but export waste and shift blame abroad. Many international agreements on plastic are weak, unenforced, or favor richer signatories. Plastic bans and regulations need support through funding, technology, and fair trade policies. Communities at the front lines of plastic pollution deserve voice, support, and global partnership. Environmental justice demands repair for the damage plastic has done to people and ecosystems. Solutions must center the needs of vulnerable populations, not just industry or market profits. Education, infrastructure, and international cooperation are key to solving the plastic crisis. No country can fight plastic pollution alone. It requires a shift in global production and consumption. Only with plastic justice can developing nations move from drowning in plastic to building clean futures. This is not just an environmental issue, it is a moral call to act before the damage becomes permanent. It's not just a trash problem, it's an environmental injustice. Developing nations are paying the price for the world's plastic addiction. If this opened your eyes, don't forget to like the video, share it with someone who needs to see the truth, and subscribe for more stories that matter. Together, awareness can spark the action our planet desperately needs.